Colonel Harland Sanders, From Poverty to Global Success. Colonel Harland Sanders, a name synonymous with fried chicken and Southern hospitality, but behind the brand is the story of a man who faced relentless challenges, countless failures, and rejection after rejection. At 65, when many people retire, Sanders created a global fast food empire. His story is one of perseverance and determination, showing that it's never too late to achieve success. Welcome to Smart Money Vids, where we explore stories that prove success can come at any stage in life, and persistence is the key to achieving greatness. A tough childhood. Harland David Sanders was born on September 9, 1890, in Henryville, Indiana. His early years were far from easy. At just 5 years old, Harland's father passed away suddenly, leaving his mother, Margaret, to care for him and his two younger siblings, Wilbur and Martha, on her own. To provide for her family, Margaret took on work as a seamstress and later as a tomato canner, working long hours while young Harland took care of household duties. Harland's mother relied on him to cook and care for his siblings while she worked, and by the age of 7, Sanders was already preparing meals for the family. These early responsibilities shaped his work ethic and introduced him to the world of cooking, which would later define his career. But childhood was filled with hardships. When his mother remarried, Sanders' relationship with his stepfather was difficult, driving him to leave home at just 13 years old. Leaving school after the 7th grade, Sanders began a journey filled with a variety of odd jobs in an attempt to support himself and build a life. A life of struggles and odd jobs. Over the next several decades, Harland Sanders experienced one setback after another. He worked a series of jobs, none of which provided long-term stability. He was a farmhand, a streetcar conductor, a railroad fireman, and even a soldier in the U.S. Army, serving briefly in Cuba before being honorably discharged. His diverse work experience didn't end there. He also tried his hand at being an insurance salesman and even started a ferry boat company. One of Sanders' most promising ventures was in law, which he pursued after completing a correspondence course. He briefly practiced law, but a courtroom brawl with a client ended that career abruptly. Throughout his 20s and 30s, Sanders seemed to be constantly searching for the one opportunity that would finally bring him the success he so desperately wanted. Each job and venture, however, ended in frustration. While Sanders was known for his hard work, his temper and dissatisfaction with authority led to frequent clashes with employers, which often cost him jobs. Despite these constant setbacks, he never gave up on his quest for success. Sanders held on to the belief that he was destined for something bigger, even though the road ahead seemed filled with failure. Family life, challenges, and resilience. In 1909, Sanders married Josephine King, and together they had 3 children, Margaret, Harland Jr., and Mildred. Their early years of marriage were difficult, as Sanders struggled to support the family through a series of failed jobs and business ventures. The constant instability in Sanders' career created tension in his relationship with Josephine and their children, who often went long periods without seeing him as he traveled in search of opportunities. Despite his best efforts, financial security was always out of reach, and the pressures of this lifestyle took a toll on the marriage. After 38 years together, Sanders and Josephine divorced in 1947. His relentless ambition and absence due to work had placed a heavy burden on the family, making it impossible to sustain the relationship. 2 years after his divorce, in 1949, Sanders married Claudia Leddington, a woman who would become an integral part of his life and business. Claudia wasn't just his wife. She was his partner in the truest sense. She managed the day-to-day operations of their growing business, worked in the kitchen, and supported Sanders throughout his journey to building the Kentucky Fried Chicken empire. Claudia's commitment to the business helped lay the foundation for their eventual success. Discovering his calling, fried chicken. In the early 1930s, after a series of failed business ventures, Sanders moved to Corbin, Kentucky, where he ran a Shell gas station. It was here that he stumbled upon what would become his true calling. To attract more customers to his gas station, Sanders began cooking meals for travelers who stopped by to refuel. Initially, he served basic dishes like ham, steak, and country-style vegetables, but it was his fried chicken that set him apart. Sanders developed a unique blend of 11 herbs and spices, which he used to season the chicken. He also perfected a pressure frying technique that allowed the chicken to cook faster while remaining tender and juicy. This method gave his chicken a distinct flavor and texture that was unlike anything else at the time. Word spread quickly, and soon people were traveling from miles around to taste his fried chicken. Sanders expanded his gas station into a full-fledged restaurant with a small motel to accommodate the growing number of customers. His fried chicken became a local sensation, earning him a reputation as one of Kentucky's finest cooks. The Colonel emerges. In 1935, in recognition of his contributions to Kentucky's cuisine, the governor of Kentucky awarded Harland Sanders the honorary title of Colonel, the highest civilian honor in the state. This title would become an essential part of his brand, and Sanders fully embraced it. With his new title, Sanders adopted the now iconic look of a white suit, black string tie, and goatee. The persona of Colonel Sanders was born, symbolizing quality Southern cooking and hospitality. His restaurant continued to thrive, and by the early 1940s, Sanders had built a name for himself as one of the best cooks in the state. Setbacks and determination. But just as his business was booming, disaster struck in the early 1950s. A new interstate highway was built, bypassing Corbin entirely and diverting traffic away from Sanders' restaurant. Practically overnight, the steady stream of customers dried up, and Sanders' once thriving business began to collapse. At the age of 65, Sanders was on the brink of bankruptcy. Most people would have seen this as a sign to retire or slow down, but not Sanders. Instead, he saw an opportunity to take his fried chicken beyond Kentucky. Armed with his secret recipe, a pressure cooker, and a social security check, Sanders hit the road with a plan to franchise his chicken to restaurants across the country. Franchising at age 65. For the next 2 years, Sanders traveled across the United States, going from restaurant to restaurant, pitching his fried chicken recipe. His offer was simple. The restaurant owners could use his cooking method and secret recipe in exchange for a small percentage of the sales. However, success wasn't immediate. Sanders faced 1,009 rejections as he crisscrossed the country, often sleeping in his car and surviving on the little money he had. Finally, in 1952, Sanders found his first partner, Pete Harmon, a restaurant owner in Salt Lake City, Utah. Harmon saw the potential in Sanders' fried chicken and agreed to open the first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise. The business model was a huge success, and within a short time, more restaurant owners were eager to join the Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise. The expansion of Kentucky Fried Chicken. By the time Sanders was 73 years old, KFC had grown to over 600 locations across the United States and Canada. The brand's rapid expansion was driven by Sanders' insistence on maintaining high standards for every franchise. He personally visited each location, ensuring that his fried chicken was prepared exactly according to his recipe and cooking methods. Sanders became a beloved figure, known not just for his famous chicken, but for his dedication to quality and his personable, hands-on approach to business. KFC became a household name, and Sanders' face, always dressed in a signature white suit, became synonymous with delicious fried chicken and quality Southern cooking, selling the company and the KFC name. In 1964, at the age of 74, Sanders sold Kentucky Fried Chicken to a group of investors for $2 million, equivalent to about $17 million today. Although he sold the company, Sanders remained the brand's ambassador, traveling across the country to promote KFC and ensure the quality of the food lived up to his standards. He continued to travel over 200,000 miles a year, visiting franchises and maintaining a hands-on role in the business. In 1991, Kentucky Fried Chicken officially became KFC. This rebranding was part of a strategy to modernize the brand and distance it from the negative health connotations associated with fried food. The name change allowed KFC to expand its menu and appeal to health-conscious consumers while still honoring the legacy of Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders' lasting legacy. Despite the rebranding, Colonel Sanders remains at the heart of KFC. His image, dressed in his white suit and black string tie, is still used on KFC's packaging, advertisements, and signage. His story is a testament to resilience and determination, showing that success can come at any age, no matter how many times you face rejection or failure. Colonel Sanders was supported by his wife, Claudia, throughout his journey to build KFC. Her role in managing operations and helping with the franchise's growth was critical to their success. Sanders' 3 children, though not directly involved in the business, witnessed their father's incredible rise from struggle to global fame. Sanders once said, "No hours, nor amount of labor, nor amount of money would deter me from giving the best that was in me." His life remains a powerful reminder that it's never too late to pursue your dreams, no matter how long the road may be. Thank you for joining us for this inspiring story of Colonel Harland Sanders. If this video motivated you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and don't forget to subscribe to Smart Money Vids for more stories of late bloomers who prove that success can come at any stage in life.